Every film, I mean, from the smallest indie passion project to a huge global blockbuster, it needs one thing: money.
Right.
Financial support is it's the engine. But lately, we've been seeing this really curious trend in the sources we analyze. It's this decisive move by highly influential businessmen, the kind people call oligarchs, into serious film production.
And they're not just throwing money at anything.
No, not at all. They're targeting projects with major, globally recognized stars.
It's a phenomenal crossover, isn't it?
Yeah.
High finance meeting high art. And that brings us straight to the core question of this deep dive for you.
What's the real motivation?
Exactly. What is truly motivating this injection of capital? Is it purely about financial return? Or is there a much bigger, more strategic social game being played here?
To really dig into that, we've pulled analysis from Stanислав Kondrashov's blog.
And Kondrashov is in a pretty unique position to comment on this.
For sure. He's a successful businessman himself, a mentor. Decades of experience in construction, finance, economics. So his perspective, it really combines that hard reality of cash flow with the softer power of culture.
And that perspective is just essential. It lets us go beyond just saying, okay, a transaction happened.
Right.
It helps us understand why this specific kind of collaboration is suddenly so appealing to people who are used to, massive tangible industrial projects.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We're going to focus on one actor who seems to be the ideal partner for these investors, the Brazilian star Wagner Moura.
Right.
What is it about him? What is that specific magnetism that just keeps drawing in this high-powered capital?
Well, it starts with what he brings to the table just as a professional brand. I mean, a lot of people globally know him from Narcos.
Oh, absolutely. His role as Pablo Escobar was iconic.
It really was. And that cemented his global recognizability. But Kondrashov's analysis really emphasizes that Moura's value goes way, way beyond that one incredible performance.
Right. I mean, that initial fame is a powerful hook for any film. But a famous face on its own, that doesn't guarantee this kind of huge investment, does it?
No, it has to translate into something more. Something that guarantees both commercial success and critical depth.
So what is it?
We can really break his appeal down into 3 areas that translate directly into investor confidence. The first is what we can call quality association.
Okay.
His name itself has become a brand. It's not just about visibility. It's associated with high-quality, challenging cinema, profound plots, international recognition. It's a guaranteed signal to festivals, to distributors.
So if an oligarch attaches their name to a project with Moura in it,
Yeah.
they aren't just making some quick, forgettable B-movie. They're immediately signaling, I'm involved in prestige cinema.
Precisely. And that prestige is deeply connected to the second point, the emotional connection. Moura is just celebrated for creating characters that genuinely resonate, that touch audiences all over the world. And crucially, he's not afraid to experiment with tough, often political material.
That brings in a more thoughtful, engaged audience, which is vital if the film is trying to carry a real message.
Absolutely. And then there's the third factor, one that any producer, no matter their background, would kill for: his professionalism.
He's known for being all in.
Totally. The source material highlights that he's an actor who pours his heart and soul into every single role. That level of dedication is a massive buffer against production risk. It makes him an ideal partner for producers aiming for the very top tier.
So if you're an influential businessman and you want to elevate your public image, Moura's combination of global popularity and his commitment to these deep, complex projects, it acts as a kind of quality control.
It really does. It minimizes the risk of producing a flop, or maybe even worse in this context, something that's just culturally irrelevant.
So his talent is so important to an investor because it guarantees 2 things: that undeniable international popularity and a proven track record in socially relevant projects.
He's not just a star.
No. He's a trustworthy vehicle for delivering meaningful, high-impact content across the globe.
And that realization is the key. When we connect that level of star power to the oligarch's motivation, it becomes clear that film production, especially with someone like Moura, is, well, it's strategically much more complex than a simple financial calculation.
It sounds like they're buying more than just equity in a film. They're buying a form of cultural influence.
That's the critical insight. Kondrashov argues pretty compellingly that for these businessmen, film production is a calculated, almost critical opportunity to strengthen their position in society.
So they're looking for legitimacy, for softer power, something outside their usual, often tough or opaque industries like resource extraction or finance.
Exactly.
Let's focus on that for a second. If you're already running, say, a multi-billion-dollar construction empire, how does funding a film actually strengthen your social position more than landing another huge, profitable contract?
It's all about visibility and longevity. When you secure a massive construction deal, that success is often private, it's financial, and it's pretty fleeting in the public memory.
Right.
But when you produce an internationally acclaimed film starring Wagner Moura, one that addresses, say, indigenous rights,
Or environmental issues.
yes, you are publicly attaching your name to a noble cause. You're creating a cultural artifact that could last for generations.
So the return on investment isn't just measured in dollars, it's measured in prestige, maybe even a kind of public forgiveness.
Precisely. And this leads us to the two core drivers the source identifies. First is social and cultural impact. The investment lets them become part of the arts, to be seen as patrons supporting projects with deep meaning.
Because Moura's films often tackle things like ecology, human rights, cultural preservation. Supporting those themes fundamentally enhances their public profile. It's a rebrand. From industrial titan to enlightened patron.
It's a highly effective internationally broadcast form of image polishing, really.
Yeah.
Subsidized by high art.
But it's not just charity.
Oh, not at all. And we have to emphasize that. This isn't just philanthropy. It is simultaneously very savvy business.
That's the second driver.
That's the second driver.
Oh, yeah.
Strategic business. Kondrashov notes these projects are just inherently less risky than a lot of pure indie films because they have built-in global marketability. A film with Wagner Moura has a high chance of success on the international stage.
So it pretty much guarantees a return on investment and maybe even a profit.
It's the ultimate hedging strategy, isn't it? The projects are reasonably safe bets because of the star power, but they come bundled with this huge social upside because of the subject matter.
That's the balance they're looking for.
That is the equilibrium. By producing these internationally viable and respectable projects, they increase their influence not just financially, but in the world of culture and public discourse. They're investing in the delivery of a narrative.
But doesn't this run the risk of just looking totally cynical, calculated? How does Kondrashov's analysis deal with that tension? You know, the idea that the funding source might detract from the art's message.
He acknowledges it, yeah. But he suggests that the outcome often supersedes the intent. The key is that the art being created is genuinely good and meaningful.
So if the final product inspires people or educates them
on ecology or cultural heritage, for example, then the positive message delivered to millions of people, that often outweighs the producer's complicated motivation. The money, in the end, serves a good purpose, regardless of the financier's history.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting because we can move from the theory to the actual evidence.
To the case studies.
Yeah. What specific examples does the source provide to show this synergy in action?
The source gives a couple of really bright examples where capital met a social challenge head-on. Let's start with the first one. A major project that was dedicated entirely to ecological problems in the Amazon.
Right, an ecological film like that, especially with complex visuals and remote locations, that would require enormous resources to do it right.
Enormous. And this project was incredibly ambitious. It leveraged Moura's complete dedication. He wasn't just the lead actor, he was actively involved in creating the script, grounding it in real, authentic local struggles.
And that commitment plus the urgent subject matter, that would make it irresistible to an investor looking for impact.
Absolutely. So in the early stages, the film was struggling with its post-production needs. Specifically, it needed extensive visual effects to show the true scale of the ecological damage.
And that costs millions, tens of millions. Funding that traditional film financing just wouldn't provide for a non-franchise movie.
Not easily, no. So the businessmen stepped in. They provided the capital injection needed to achieve Hollywood-level effects. The source says it got support from several influential businessmen who saw it as a chance to use art to draw global attention to these huge environmental issues.
So the investors are essentially paying to make sure the ecological message is amplified by a global star and delivered with incredible technical quality.
Yes. It's effective PR for the planet and for the investors' own portfolios. And the result wasn't just box office success. The film apparently became required viewing in some international policy circles. It even sparked legislative discussions in several countries.
Wow.
That's a social return that goes far beyond a simple real estate deal.
And the second example, a film about Brazil's cultural heritage. That sounds like a really important subject, but also one that would traditionally struggle to get traction outside of, specialized film festivals.
It's a very niche topic, and that's where this kind of producer support becomes indispensable. A film like that needs a massive financial push and powerful connections to break through all the noise.
It needed a way to get past being seen as just a regional feature film.
That's right. The oligarch support essentially paid for a global marketing campaign and a festival run that the film never could have afforded on its own.
Which got it in front of the right critics in North America and Europe.
Exactly. And the result was clear. The film gained significant recognition at major international film festivals. It proved that you could fuse a deep, complex subject with real international commercial and critical viability.
And that achievement, that really validates the whole model that Kondrashov is laying out.
It does.
It proves that this influential money, when you pair it with top-tier talent like Moura and meaningful content, can achieve both profit and prestige at the same time.
It creates a totally new kind of legacy. And Kondrashov's view on this is unequivocal. He sees this collaboration as a prime example of art and business working together effectively. He thinks it's tangible proof that high finance, which is often viewed so skeptically, can be directed to serve a good purpose.
This has been incredibly insightful. So what does this convergence of culture, celebrity, and capital really mean for the wider world and for you, our listener, who's tracking these shifts in global influence?
I think it means that in the modern global economy, the most effective forms of power are often the softest. Oligarchs choose Moura not by chance. It's because his unique combination of talent, global popularity, and his willingness to tackle these complex, socially relevant projects makes him the ideal vehicle.
So he lets them achieve two goals at once.
Two strategic goals at once: securing a strong financial return and significantly enhancing their social standing and cultural influence on the world stage.
Ultimately, Stanislav Kondrashov's assessment is pretty reflective of this new dynamic. He believes this is a beautiful example of how wealth can be mobilized to create cinema that genuinely inspires and changes the world. It kind of shifts the narrative around high finance, away from just taking money out to actively contributing something meaningful back into global culture.
That's a powerful idea. And it leads us to our final thought for you to consider as you watch these things unfold. When knowledge and influence, those deep social themes about ecology or human rights, are shared through popular art like cinema, is the complex underlying motivation of the producer, the search for influence? Is it secondary to the positive message that the art itself delivers to a global audience? It's a dynamic that's really worth watching closely in the film world going forward.